Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is a very critical part, right? Everything requires storage, and storage has unlimited sort of ways in dealing, and we'll understand what these things are. But just like anything else, right? I want to give you some thought process before we get into the actual stuff, right? What about what's so special? अभी मैं अगर जाता हूँ इसके अंदर एक्सप्लोरर के अंदर, राइट? I have all this stuff. I have this one, and I have my C drive, right? So C drive जो है, it is my C drive, and I have certain fixed space, and it tells me how much is used and what. But so far, this is what we have seen about storage. We put files, we use files, and with the in Windows we use something called Windows Explorer, right? Seems like a program, application that shows us the disk and we do something. But things are not as simple, right? Because disk is storage, it needs some driver, or your files पड़ी हुई and folders पड़े हुए, they have certain meaning, right? So if I go into this one, if I go into properties of this disk, यहाँ पे आपको you get a little bit more information, right? You get information that there's something called a file system, right? And let me see what else. Hardware क्या है? Let me see. Sharing seems like it can be shared. This drive that I'm showing you, this C drive, जो आप SSD या NVMe अपने खरीद के कंप्यूटर में लगाई है, seems like I can share it also, right? By default, it's not shared. So if I share it, for example, if I share it and share name is C, for example, my C drive, whatever, right? And it seems that I can limit the number of users and do OK, right? And then it shows the network path is slash slash two backslashes and my computer name, and then the name of this share, right? Which is something another thing, right? Where this came from and what is happening and what is sharing, right? What do I mean when I do sharing? किसी और को क्या चीज़ नज़र आ रही है, right? So if I do this, for example, let's see, if I do this, let's see, if I go and open a new tab on this one, if I say AK Lenovo, right? So it shows me that shared view, right? जो वहाँ पे मैंने देखा था ना उसका shared, ये दिखा रहा है आइकॉन भी आ गया इसका shared का, but I mean again over here ये पास जब मैंने ये डाला जब यहाँ पे it showed me the shared view of this one, right? And these are very critical things for us to understand before we go into storage, ठीक है? जिस तरह मैंने हमने cloud computing पढ़ी थी and we started off कि हमने व्हाट इज़ क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग, कि हमने नेटवर्क स्टोरेज हम पहले भी बना रहे थे, नाउ समबडी एल्स इज डूइंग इट, हम डेटा सेंटर किस तरह बनाते हैं उसमें क्या होता है, एंड नाउ समबडी इज प्रोवाइडिंग अस दैट, हमारी ये व्यू होता है डेटा सेंटर का, एंड वी डू रिमोट एक्सेस, नाउ इट्स AVD. So we put all the pieces in the puzzle, right, to have a very clear picture of all those things, right? So now we coming to storage, और मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ what we are seeing is एक drive है and we can do lot of different things with it, right? हम menus में जाके if we play around with this, that view of that drive of that storage becomes totally different. It is now my C drive. I can go into this one, hopefully. If my now it is going through totally something from a different route altogether, from some network route, it is the network path to my computer on my drive, even though it's the same computer, right? But I'm going through a different, totally different path to access the same drive on my own machine, right? Why is that? Right. ये सो कुछ हुआ हुआ है, मैं देखता हूँ क्या हुआ हुआ है. Anyway, we'll see if it gets fixed. This thing, what I just did, this is something called when you start to share, what Windows does is it enables something called SMB. It allows this sharing on a protocol called SMB. I think server message block it's called. लिनक्स के अंदर भी आप कर सकते हैं, उसमें प्रोटोकॉल है टू शेयर दैट स्टोरेज एज NFS, नेटवर्क फाइल शेयर. सो दो प्रोटोकॉल हैं. This view uses a storage driver to give me the direct storage view, the direct disk view. जब मैं उसको शेयर कर देता हूं, this is happening through SMB, through the operating system, right? तो storage जो मुझे नजर आ रही है, now it is shared through some Windows service that is exposing this share because I have enabled it, and the protocol being used is called SMB. ये मैं article दूंगा to look into SMB versus NFS. It's very important, right, when you're dealing with storage. Anyway, I don't know क्या हुआ इसको and what it's trying to do, but this is the main difference. Now you see कि जो डिस्क बैठी हुई हमारे कंप्यूटर के ऊपर, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम is putting some layer, and after that layer there is a program that uses that layer to show you the files. This Windows Explorer is using some underlying drivers from Windows to show you this view. Okay? It's showing you this view of this one that shows you folder, and then it has certain properties. For example, you can say properties, sorry, not properties, I want to say view. यहाँ पे आएगा, let me see, यहाँ पे hidden items. It seems there's something called hidden items on Windows as well. That is not shown by this Explorer program, but you can enable it. Okay? Rest of it is views. But if I say details, it can start showing me details. I'm not sure why there is empty. क्योंकि यानी शुरू हो गई है इसके अंदर. So you can see that I have hidden items. It seems it's showing me. I can go and say show hidden items. अभी नहीं आ रही, अब आएंगी. Right now you can see कि Windows में आप किसी चीज को hide करते हो, उसका icon is a very light color yellow, right? But this is essentially an Explorer is a program जो Windows के certain drivers इस्तेमाल करके directly storage को use करता है. In the field of in enterprise, this is called DAS, direct attached storage. ठीक है? DAS. Versus NAS. Network attached storage is example of this. ठीक है, आप ये देख लो, मैंने Azure का स्टोरेज मैंने यहाँ पे माउंट किया हुआ है, and you can see the network path, right? Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not, but ये मैंने मैप किया हुआ है. So this is NAS, network attached storage. ठीक है? We'll go into this one. I'm just showing you the differences between these things. So anyway, we'll go into these ones. ये कह रहा है कि मैं connect नहीं हुआ, it seems. But anyway, regardless, let's now go into the storage. So storage, before we start using storage, we must create what we call a storage account. So we go into storage. And we'll say create. I have some stuff already. And pay attention to these things now, right? I want to show you something. अब इसमें मैंने आपको बताया था कि इसके क्या है, मस्ट हैव ग्लोबली यूनिक नेम. Why globally unique name? For a storage account, it seems like a very very restrictive thing. But let's see why. यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं आपका नाम दो, और यहाँ पे क्या कह रहे हैं, मस्ट हैव ग्लोबली यूनिक नेम. मैं कहता हूँ ABCDEF. वो चेक कर रहे हैं. Oops, let's see. So again, to start using storage, you must create a storage account. ठीक है. Not sure why it is so slow right now. Then the second thing it is saying, let's continue this one. It provides over the internet access worldwide. That should tell you कि ये globally जो नाम है, and if it's giving you over the internet access, that means it is creating a fully qualified domain name. And you should have seen this one already in my Explorer. This one. Okay, file.core.windows.net, and here is my storage account name. And that's why it is globally unique, because Microsoft का एक domain है file.core.windows.net जिसके साथ आपका नाम लग जाएगा. जब ये नाम लगेगा, it must be, लाजमी बात है, it must be unique, right? तो Microsoft का एक सब domain है under windows.net in which you are actually creating a new name. And since it's providing over the internet access, it says it must be globally unique. So be very clear why it needs to be globally unique, right? So storage account, मैं अपना ना internet access जरा change करता हूँ. Give me 1 second. Maybe something is happening to this one. ठीक है. तो now let's see over here. मैं कहता हूँ ABCDEF. Okay, it's already taken. Okay, give it a unique name. Usually हम क्या करते हैं, हम पहले इनकी naming convention है, would AST, and I can say CS4037 data. I can put something like this. Let's see if it's happy. It seems to be happy. फिर वो कह रहा है प्राइमरी सर्विस क्या आपकी. देखो यहाँ पे हमने सर्विस क्या की दी थी, यहाँ पे हमारी डायरेक्ट अटैच स्टोरेज थी, यहाँ पे सर्विस थी. Azure स्टोरेज के ऊपर इट प्रोवाइड्स यू सर्टेन सर्विसेज. ओके, यू कैन डिटरमिन स्टोरेज सर्विसेज एंड रिडंडेंसी ऑप्शंस. ये स्टोरेज अकाउंट के ऊपर आप करते हो, सो इट प्रोवाइड्स यू सिमिलर बैक एंड स्टोरेज, राइट. नाउ व्हाट डज दैट मीन, लेट्स टेक अ लुक. सबसे पहले स्टोरेज के अंदर जब हमने ग्लोबली यूनिक नाम रख दिया, देन इट आस्क्स आपको किस तरह की रिडंडेंसी चाहिए. ठीक है. LRS means it's locally redundant. You will have 3 copies in the data center, in the same data center. ठीक है. तो anyway, LRS means 3 copies in the same data center, not in the region, in the single data center. Okay, you have देख रहे हो primary region, keep this in mind. ZRS means, ये देखो 3 copies, ये कहाँ से 3 copies आ रहा है? Where this concept is coming from? Anybody can remember or can deduce? This is coming from your fault domain, your fault domains. जब एक डेटा सेंटर में 3 कॉपीज बन रही हैं, दैट मीन द स्टोरेज, एक स्टोरेज की ऑन 2 other fault domains it's being replicated. कि एक fault domain goes down, the storage will shift to the other fault domain or to the other fault domain, right? It's coming from exactly that place. Okay, so these are the things that you can basically deduce yourself as well, or have a very educated answer around these things, right? Why 3 copies, right? Next one is ZRS. One copy in each zone in the same region. ठीक है, इन द सेम, यहाँ पे नाउ उसने 3 कॉपीज आपकी जो थी एक डीसी में, उसने कहा कि आपको मैं प्राइमरी कॉपी आपकी आपके डेटा सेंटर में, और 2 other copies will give you in the each availability zone in the region, right? आपकी कॉस्ट इंक्रीज होती जा रही है because it needs to replicate the data out to other zones. Then GRS, आवाज नहीं आ रही मेरी सही? एक सेकंड, अच्छा मुझे बताना, अच्छा मुझे बता दिया करो, उसमें बेशक चैट में डाल दिया करो, लेट मी नो ओके, अगर कनेक्टिविटी इज नॉट गुड. ठीक है, सो दिस वन इज नाउ ZRS इज कि आपकी हर जोन के अंदर आपका डेटा कॉपी हो रहा है. GRS is single data center in the primary and secondary. ठीक है, now आपकी GRS is LRS plus 1 copy in another region. 3 copies LRS. LRS is what? 3 copies in the same DC. Okay, and again GZRS is ZRS plus 1 copy in another region. Okay, is it clear? तो ये इंक्लूड करो आप यहाँ पे, एंड देन दिस ZRS इंक्लूड करो, यानी कि 3 कॉपीज प्राइमरी रीजन में, प्राइमरी डेटा सेंटर, अब डेटा 3 डेटा सेंटर्स के अंदर इन द सेम रीजन एंड 1 in another region. This is the most expensive, well not most expensive but most expensive in what we have read so far. Then comes another one, please ये चीज़ें you need this one, it's very simple concepts, make sure you remember these things and understand these things, right? ये हर वक्त आपको you will be dealing with these things, right? और इनके ऊपर बड़े बड़े catastrophic issues आ चुके हुए हैं, which one we picked or which one customer picked and what happened to the bill, right? They thought कि $1000 बिल आएगा, उनका 3-4 हज़ार बिल आ गया just from the storage, right? So this is very very critical. GRS कहते हैं कि This is read access, GRS with read access. Readable copy in the secondary region. ठीक है? And then we have ठीक है, तो GGRS और जबकि दूसरे रीजन में डेटा है उसका वो क्या कहते हैं रीडेबल है. This is very nice, very very important and very usable. But I just want to show you something over here. तो यहाँ पे हमने क्या कहा, ये देखो यहाँ पे आ गई हैं, ठीक है, LRS, GRS, GRS, GGRS. मैं देखता हूँ यहाँ पे, ये देखो यहाँ पे आ रहा है रीड एक्सेस टू इवेंट ऑफ रीजन अवेलेबिलिटी. ओके, ये भी मेरा ख्याल है आरए वाली ऑप्शन सेपरेट आएगी, ठीक है, विल सी दैट. यहाँ पे कह रहा है आपको स्टैंडर्ड है, यहाँ पे एक प्रीमियम डिस्क, यहाँ पे प्रीमियम स्टोरेज मिलेगी आपको फॉर परफॉर्मेंस रीजंस. इट्स वेरी रेयर वेयर वी हैव सीन टू यूज प्रीमियम. जनरली स्टैंडर्ड इज यूज्ड, दिस इज मोर देन सफिशिएंट. यहाँ पे जिस चीज़ को हमने अभी तक चेक नहीं किया, दिस इज दिस वन. व्हाट डू यू वांट टू यूज दिस फॉर? ब्लॉब स्टोरेज, एज्योर फाइल्स और अदर. ठीक है, ये भी मैं समझाता हूँ आपको क्या चीज़ें हैं. मैं आपको दिखाना चाह रहा हूँ बेसिकली एक इसकी एक दो ऑप्शंस, and you will see that later on. Now this was this, okay. यहाँ पे yeah, durability, I don't want to go into this one. This is essentially durability means K 11 nines, right? Durability generally means K the probability is 0.00. It's durability you look at this way basically. Okay, right, this is the probability, right, this is 11 nines, right, so something like that. So आपकी probability of data going bad is this much in 100 years or something. This is what durability means. इसकी definition है, it is somewhere around those lines. The probability of data going bad in 100 years is this, right? So you are 19.999999 11 sure that nothing will happen to your data, it will not get corrupted and whatever, right? This is what they are guaranteeing for you, right, with their storage architecture, with their disk architecture. क्योंकि एक डिस्क होता है, हमने देखते होंगे MTBF, आई थिंक मीन टाइम बिटवीन फेलियर्स. ये आपके डिस्क के ऊपर लिखा होता है बेसिकली, मीन टाइम बिटवीन MTBF, कि when the disk to go wrong, NVMe किसके ऊपर लिखा होता है, ये वाली चीज़, right? If I say, for example, NVMe MTBF, million hour MTBS and those things, right? So you will see the endurance and durability and around these things, ठीक है? तो ये वो चीज़ें basically, I personally have not gone too much into these ones. कभी ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी, right? It is that rare or unseen, basically, right? But this is something, think of it as an SLA that they're giving you, right? Based on their storage architecture. But personally, I've never dealt with it, but read about it, I'm not too bothered, right? मैंने अपने 8-10 साल क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग के अंदर we have never come across कि ये डिस्क खराब हो गई, हमारा डेटा करप्ट हो गया, something else happened, right? Usually it's the other way around, कोई ransomware आ गया and all those things, that has much higher probability than this thing for the data to go, something happens to your data, generally speaking. So read about it, मैं इसमें pointer डाल दूंगा. इसके अंदर ड्यूरेबिलिटी का. Now we come to the type, right? यहाँ पे you will see performance, right? General purpose और प्रीमियम है और आपने प्रीमियम अकाउंट कौन सी है, ठीक है. यू कैन सी प्रीमियम की ये तीन चीज़ें आ रही हैं जो वहाँ पे ब्लॉग ब्लॉब्स, फाइल शेयर्स, पेज ब्लॉब्स, राइट. And I don't want to go too much into these things for a minute, but just to explain you, when you talk about blob, okay, a VHD is a blob. Data, it has no understanding. It's a blob structure of data, a binary structure of data that is getting written and read from. ठीक है. उसके अंदर क्या होता है? There is no indexing going on that one. क्योंकि एक फाइल सिस्टम जो है, स्टोरेज सिस्टम, इट गिव्स यू फाइल शेयरिंग एंड वेरियस डिफरेंट कैपेबिलिटीज, राइट. उसके अंदर कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा. दैट इज रिटन, यू आर यूजिंग इट. एंड जनरली ब्लॉब्स यू डोंट शेयर यूजुअली. दे आर फॉर यूजेज एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स फॉर योर हैवी यूजेज. VHDs हैं जो आपकी जो सीक्वल की डिस्क हैं, स्टोरेज डिस्क हैं, दे कैन बी ब्लॉब्स. स्टोरेज की जो डेटा फाइल्स हैं, they can be blobs, right? So it means some process is reading and writing to that thing, to that binary structure, right? Basically. इसीलिए कह रहे best for high transaction rates, low storage latency, right? This is one. File shares. File shares के अंदर generally basically क्या होता है कि अब इसके अंदर inside the structure there is a structure, right? Generally data structures होंगे, various different things होंगे. File shares are basically what I just showed you over here, right? This is a file share. I can share it across anyone in the enterprise. Problem here is when people start coming, it will saturate my disk, saturate my network card, and saturate my system resources. And to see that, you can go into, for example, Task Manager. And in Task Manager, इसके अंदर है processes. And in the processes, you can see disk, right? It shows you the usage, disk transfer rate, and multiple things, right? And there is also, I think, I don't know if there is available मेरे पास है कि नहीं, Procmon. ये बड़ा ज़बरदस्त tool है, Procmon. It was written by a guy named Mark Rusanovich, or Mark Rusanovich जो था, when it was a company called Sys Internals, right? He made this company, started this company long time back, और इसने जो tools लिखे थे, based on that, he was hired by Microsoft. He became the chief architect of Windows, and these days he's a chief architect of Azure. Okay, amazing guy. I think he has PhD from UCLA or Stanford या Berkeley से कहीं से इसके पास है. A super genius guy, super genius. मैं इसके lectures internal attend किए हुए हैं. And if you can find something on YouTube from Mark Rusanovich, please read it, listen to him. Just most amazing guy to listen to. आपको most critical technologies he will give you in a very very layman terms and explain you. Highly educated and I mean amazing engineer, amazing architect of this stuff. So he's chief architect of Azure basically. It gives you low level stuff in the disk view दिखाता है आपको from a very very low level stuff. Let me see if I can download in the meantime and show you this also separately. मैं आपको डाल देता हूँ चैट के अंदर. इसका नाम है वैसे मार्क रुसानोविच. Process monitor, yeah. Mark Rusanovich, no, Rusan. ये नाम है इसका. I think background Polish or something. We'll see. I'm not sure. तो मार्क रुसानोविच इसको मैं चैट में भी डाल देता हूँ इसको रीड look at his stuff, look at his content. It's amazing stuff he does. Chief Architect Azure. ठीक है तो anyway, so let's continue. तो वो मैं आपको दिखा रहा था बेसिकली जो उसकी रेट होता है और सारा कुछ राइट उसके अंदर तो you cannot simply just share stuff and think everything will be fine. When people starts copying stuff from your drive, right, it can be very demanding on your system, right. तो उसके अंदर मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज हाउ डिस्क इज बिहेविंग. डिस्क ने तो रीड करना है, उससे कंट्रोलर ने रीड करना है, जो डिस्क का कंट्रोलर है. तो फ्लैश ड्राइव्स आ गई हुई हैं, सो इट्स मच बेटर. बिफोर उसके ऊपर एक स्पिंडल होता था, उसके ऊपर एक आर्म होता था, एंड इट हैज़ टू गो एंड रीड, राइट. So it is very difficult and very demanding on the disk to get and give the data. कई सौ requests आ रही हैं from everywhere. So disk speed and disk quality becomes critical, right, when you say. So यहाँ पे जो वो कह रहा है file share, this is what the thing is कि आपने share तो कर दिया drive आपने, and my software and the drivers on the operating system will allow you to share in the enterprise, which I just showed you. But I mean, is the disk capable of handling this, right? This is the important part. So this is what they tell you, this file share that best for enterprise or high performance applications that need to scale. ठीक है तो एक प्रीमियम है, स्टैंडर्ड के अंदर भी है ये, राइट. प्राइमरी सर्विस Azure फाइल्स, राइट. दिस इज फॉर फाइल शेयरिंग. यहाँ पे भी है ब्लॉब स्टोरेज. देयर सम अदर थिंग कॉल्ड अदर टेबल्स एंड क्यूज. ठीक है, आई विल कवर दिस वन. Basically, if you look at all these things, what you need to understand, there is a software layer on top of just raw storage that Azure is providing you, that is providing you certain services. यहाँ पे आपको वो blob storage दे रहा है. I'll not go into ADLS, okay, Azure Data Lake Storage. Maybe we'll look at it later on. Blob storage, Azure Files, a file share किया जिसका मैंने भी दिखाया था, वो operating system is doing that. That means there's some service running on top of storage that is allowing you to do that. ठीक है, to look at that storage, that disk as files. ठीक है, so operating system provides that functionality. Some service gives you that view of that storage. So I want you guys to realize there is a software layer that is providing you all these services on top of raw storage, right? A raw disk, right? And the moment you do these things, right, from redundancy perspective, I mean, it tells the fabric to do many more things to the storage that you're using, right? Of course, you pay the cost, but regardless of the cost, you are subscribing into many more services, right? To make sure data is copied across regions or copied across zones, copied across wherever, and then you can say read access. I want the read access also. Okay, make it readable. There's some other service it will enable that is not enabled by default, right? So if you go and to look at the implications of this, which is very critical again, right? Azure pricing calculator, right? मैंने आपको कहा था it's a very nice tool to look at. Sorry. यहाँ पे just to show you the impact of these things, right? Premium, the pick कर रहे हो, so your application must justify why you're picking up premium. You need that performance, right? I don't know, things are a bit slow today. और जो आप options pick कर रहे हो, LRS, ZRS, GRS and all those things, I mean, what is happening, right? So if I pick a storage account, अब यही ऑप्शंस आपकी यहाँ पे भी आ रही हैं स्टोरेज अकाउंट के अंदर, ठीक है, होपफुली। ओके, अब यहाँ पे देखो वही चीज़ दिखा रहा है आपको, ब्लॉक ब्लॉक परफॉर्मेंस स्टैंडर्ड और प्रीमियम, ठीक है। राइट नाउ वी पिक जनरल पर्पस V2। ये देखो यहाँ पे रिडेंडेंसी दिखा रहा है। अब यहाँ मैं कह रहा हूँ आई कैन पुट टेराबाइट्स, मैं कह रहा हूँ यहाँ 1 टेराबाइट चाहिए, ठीक है। तो 1 टेराबाइट मंथली प्राइस इज हाउ मच फॉर LRS स्टैंडर्ड डिस्क इज 2130। इसी को मैं करूँ प्रीमियम 153 के, कहाँ से प्राइस जंप हुई है 21 से ऑन स्टैंडर्ड, कहाँ जंप हुई है 153.60। ये operations are quite a bit, but let's add some $15-20 for these extra operations. ये 10 times 10,000 है, right? It's 100,000 write operations, 100,000 read operations, and those kind of things, right? So let's put this separate. Not worry about this one right now. But over here you see the massive jump, 10 times jump, right? When you see performance. Okay, let's continue this one. LRS, if I say ZRS, कितनी कॉस्ट हुई है मेरी LRS से? अबाउट 25%। $20-21 था, $26 हो गई, अबाउट 20% इंक्रीज हुई है। बट इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि यहाँ पे आपको, यहाँ पे लेट मी जस्ट पिक सम अदर रीजन, UAE नॉर्थ, ओके। I don't know why it tells you these things. Yeah, इसमें available नहीं होगी. We'll just keep it UAE North. I don't know क्यों दिखा रहे हैं like this, but let's do West Europe actually. Sweden Central as well. Let's just do Sweden Central, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे ZRS, if LRS was how much? LRS was 18, ZRS was, ये जो cost difference आया between data centers, why you think that happened? Generally that happened because of reduction in the operating cost of the data center. बिजली सस्ती होगी, different चीज़ें will be different, right? So those were the differences that make it happen, the price difference. But it's minimal, it's not too much. फिर मैं इसको कहता हूँ GRS. Now you see price became double. From LRS 1884, GRS price became double, 4014, right? क्यों? क्योंकि LRS तो पे कर रहे हो आप, but now for this one, right? सॉरी प्रॉपमॉन आ गया, मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ इसको, प्रॉपमॉन को। ठीक है, GRS, यार it was not Procmon, maybe it was Procmon, let me see. Anyway, let's concentrate on this one. I'm going into too many different places. ठीक है, GRS ये था, फिर GZRS आ गया, it became more expensive, right? 47, and RAGZRS, right? Almost $60. So normal storage LRS, which was 18, वहाँ से same storage, same capacity became almost, 3 times. $18 to $58, right? Massive increase happened. 300 times, not 3 times. Yeah, 3 times, or you can say not 300, but 3 times, right? So $18 side became 60. So you can imagine the cost can go high, very, very high on this storage, right? And if you do premium, right? On this one, यहाँ पे LRS है और यहाँ पे ZRS है. There is no उसके अंदर नहीं है. I will go into these ones, right? Let's stick to right now our stuff basically, where we are. I don't want to jump too much ahead. So you can see the performance becomes very, very high. Now there are two more important things. Let me just see, right, on this one, which is कि ये आपको टेबल भी देता है, टेबल व्यू दिए देता है कि आपको यू कैन यूज द स्टोरेज एज टेबल, आप नाम देते हो उसका टेबल का, एंड इट गिव्स यू रो कॉलम एंड सीक्वल टू स्टोर डेटा. It's a very, very cheap way of doing a back-end database. Very cheap way. It doesn't scale well, of course. And if you need to scale well, you can go into premium to do better. But generally, if you want to use a table as a simple database, a storage as a simple database, you can do that using the table API. इसकी API है basically, and you can use that to use tables and use SQL to put in data and out, right? That is another thing. ये एक और सॉफ्टवेयर जो लेयर है स्टोरेज के ऊपर Microsoft is providing, it is doing that, right? So यहाँ पे what I was doing, let's continue with this one. मैं इसमें LRS करता हूँ यहाँ पे tables था, blobs था and queues, and queue is just like a queue. इसकी API है स्टोरेज की, you can use in your applications to do. Queue जो होती है that is first in first out, right? You insert from one end and you can pick it up from over there, just like queues work. I don't know you guys have read it or not, right? जो queues होती हैं, if I'm putting numbers, it's like this, right? जैसे से number आते जा रहे हैं नए, they are at the front of the queue. So this was inserted the first, I will remove it on the other side the first as well, right? This is how queues work. So new stuff gets pushed and the other thing gets pushed down further, right? This is how queues work in data structures in computer science, right? The same concept. इसकी API है. You can have programs who can insert data and you can have programs and services that can pick up the data, right? This is how queues are used. So let's continue with this one. So चार services आपको देता है: blob storage, table storage, file storage, and queue storage. ठीक है? And on top of that, you can do that in a premium or standard mode, and you can set the redundancy the way you want, right? So you can see it's a very sophisticated and enhanced layer on top of raw storage. Now this is what LRS and ZRS is in picture form, right? ये है LRS, आपका ये region है, ये data center है, this is a storage, you have 3 copies. Same thing ZRS storage now. ZRS is हर data center के अंदर एक copy है, same region, 3 different availability zones, each one containing 1 copy of data. GRS. Okay, I made a mistake actually in this one, right? You are basically have 2 LRS, right? One LRS in primary and one LRS in secondary, right? Which is why the cost was double as well, right? Compared to other ones. So this is what happened. And read access is that you can read it from over here. While you're copying, you can read data from over here. Okay, so this is GZRS, ZRS in primary and LRS in secondary. Let me fix this one, okay? वो जो हमने लिखा था, and LRS in primary and LRS in secondary, ZRS in primary and LRS in secondary. Okay, sorry about that. So these are the picture, ये जो हमने किया अभी तक, it's showing the picture form of this, right? This is another view. ये क्या कर रहा है? अब आपको explain कर रहा है, right? LRS 3 replicas 1 region. What is the protection? And this is the important one. Write is acknowledged when all replicas are committed. ये तीनों को write करते हैं, उसके बाद आपको कहते हैं okay, I have written. There is no asynchronous. It's all synchronous. Okay. This one is also synchronous writes to all zones. Synchronous means आपने write किया data, you will not get an OK back, or function will not return from the data write unless it's written to all three zones. GRS is asynchronous. आप यहाँ पे write करते हो और यहाँ पे it's in an asynchronous mode it writes. Okay. And GRS RA is exactly that, but this is readable as well. You can see no arrows coming into this one. Okay. GCRS again pretty self-explanatory. So I'll continue from this one. तो ये मैंने बताया था कि सॉफ्टवेयर लेयर जो है it provides these services. Container, and you can see what is used for. So मैंने कहा था binary data, and I guess you can stick anything in there, right? वो मैं उसकी binary की देर था, अगर VHD है आपके पास SQL Server की files and what not, right? But you can stick anything there, but for massive amounts of data, right? और यहाँ पे जो important चीज़ है यहाँ पे, right? That is it's unstructured data. आपने videos, audio, hard disks, VHDs, virtual disks, whatever you can stick in there. It is optimized for that kind of reading, that kind of data. Okay. यहाँ पे एक और चीज़ हमने देखी थी जो अभी मैंने नहीं दिखाई थी आपको. Let me just check. Let me see. यहाँ पे मैं अपने पे डिस्क स्टोरेज भी दिखाता है आपको, कहीं पे आएगा. We'll go into that one. यहाँ पे it is over here actually. यहाँ पर जाएं डिस्क, Azure डिस्क जो है मैनेज डिस्क. ओके, मैनेज डिस्क जो है I don't want to go into too much right now, but idea is manage this means वो कहते हैं आप स्टोरेज अकाउंट जो बनाना है मैं बनाऊंगा, just concentrate on what you need. Okay, you can see all these. तो आपने अगर एज ए डिस्क यूज करना है देन ये नई ऑफरिंग थी माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की, इट इज बीन देयर फॉर अ व्हाइल नाउ. सो नाउ यू कैन यूज दिस डायरेक्टली अ डिस्क इफ यू वांट टू क्रिएट. वो कहते हैं स्टोरेज अकाउंट आई विल मैनेज, आई विल कीप इट, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट, आई विल नॉट इवन शो इट टू यू, राइट? Kind of the PaaS kind of thing, right? Of course this whole thing is PaaS to begin with, but same notion. आपसे हाइड कर लेते स्टोरेज अकाउंट एंड ऑल द डिफरेंट थिंग. वो कहते हैं कॉन्सेंट्रेट करो जस्ट ऑन द डिस्क. व्हाट डू यू नीड? तो इसमें वो कहते हैं जी व्हाट वी नीड इज, फॉर एग्जांपल आई नीड अ डिस्क ऑफ दिस मेनी गीगाबाइट्स एंड दिस परफॉर्मेंस, राइट? सो यू जस्ट पिक द डिस्क. वो कहते हैं आई विल मैनेज एवरीथिंग बिहाइंड द सीन्स रिलेटेड टू स्टोरेज अकाउंट. ठीक है, और ये बेसिकली यहाँ पे वो ये कर रहा है. ठीक है, तो होल पॉइंट राइट नाउ इज टू कीप इन माइंड जो रॉ डिस्क है उसके ऊपर इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग यू अ स्टोरेज लेयर, services layer, an API layer that allows you to use storage in many different ways. ठीक है, यहाँ पे another thing you can do is, right, कि it says you can enable SFTP. SFTP allows secure file transfer. उसकी एक certain setting है, right? I don't want to go into too much settings right now. I want to focus on this thing. Let me just do this one, okay? Yeah, I don't want to go into this one right now. Leave this one. I'll just keep it like this, right? So, main चीज़ है यहाँ पे that these are the three things. So somebody can ask, what is the difference between Azure files and container storage? अगर आप हर चीज़ वहाँ पे भी डाल सकते हो, what's the special thing about Azure files? The special thing about Azure files is it's allowing you to share using SMB, and you can put quotas, you can put many different things. You can give access, remove access, you can do synchronize of files and all that. Blob के अंदर you do not provide any of those services. So the difference is when your application needs to use storage, you use कंटेनर स्टोरेज, जिस तरह SQL ने यूज़ करनी है, जिस तरह any program that needs to use raw storage to store its data, right? You use container storage. When you have files that you want to share across organization and share with anybody else, and you want to maintain proper security and give everybody proper access who can access what and what not, then you need to use Azure Files. Okay? For different set of services it provides you. Okay? Now, this is another one. हमने जो यूनिक नाम बताया था, मैंने आपको ये चीज़ दिखाई थी. And reason I was able to map, because I was going into file services which is shareable and mappable. I can map it and I can connect to it because it is file share. To that, ये जो मैंने file share बनाया था अपनी यहाँ पे, ये मैंने connect किया हुआ था, right? On the this one, right? ये Azure की storage थी. If I go into my PC, it shows me this Azure storage connected from the file share one, right? ये वाला, ठीक है? You can see this is what I'm using over here as well. I'll continue this one. I don't want too many options right now. You can see कितनी ज़्यादा options हैं इसके अंदर. What you can able to do with this one, right? तो आपको सारी services का एक URL मिलता है. This is under the domain blob. This is under table. This is under queue. This is under core. This is what enables the service layer over on top of storage. Okay. So understand this one very importantly. Just like Windows gives you File Explorer, Azure is giving you this thing, right? Is giving you this thing to deal with storage from any service that you require. Underneath is the same disk, right? But depending on how you're using, it shows you in different ways. You deal with it. आप queue के साथ deal करो, you will not be able to see from files. आप table इस्तेमाल करो, you will not be able to see from queues, and so on and so forth, right? But the portal does show you. I'll create this one, I'll show you, okay? But API will not let you go into any other place, okay? But portal में, since it's a common view across everything, you can see everything what's going on, ठीक है? अब इसके ऊपर आप ये कह सकते हो कि give please I want my custom domain name. ये मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था. Now to map an existing name on this one to a specific name, sorry यहाँ पे ये देखो CNAME record. हमने बताया to rename an existing name, you need a CNAME record. This is precisely what you need to create to इतना लंबा जो windows.net वाला नाम है, you can make it according to your organization. Okay? So this is, ये शुरू में functionality नहीं थी, AWS के पास थी, but finally Microsoft has it. It's been a while. Yes, performance is the main difference, right, between standard and premium. There is the primary difference. How they enable it, how they enable the performance, we can brainstorm it, what they're doing underneath. But yes, that is the main difference. Maybe disk type is totally different over there, right? यहाँ पे आप देखोगे इसी settings के अंदर जाओ, and you can imagine एक storage account है and what kind of options are there just to deal with storage, right? I mean, just unbelievable amount of stuff. और यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो, let me see the custom domain. I'll let it come. I don't know क्या मसला है, ठीक है? Again, this is the same thing. ये जो यही वाले हैं, this is the same slide, and these are public endpoints. Okay, on this one. The main thing is the subdomain or the domain is different on these ones. So for the core windows.net, there is a subdomain of blob, dfs, file, queue, table. ये डेटा लेक स्टोरेज है, हमने ब्लॉब और उसके अंदर देखा था दिस ऑप्शन. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट टू मच, राइट. उसकी स्पेसिफिक है, आई डोंट गो इनटू स्पेसिफिक ऑफ दैट राइट नाउ, मे बी लेटर ऑन आई विल कवर दैट. But important point is for each service you're given a separate FQDN, fully qualified domain name, which can be further renamed into your own custom domain name. Okay. Let me see. मैं देखना चाह रहा हूँ कहाँ पे ऑप्शन इसी कस्टम डोमेन की. I'll see in a minute. Now we say blob storage. So now in the blob storage you can see कि हम किस तरह कंटेनर्स को यूज करते हैं. ठीक है. So this is very important. यहाँ पे मैं करूँगा, ये एक कस्टम डोमेन. ठीक है, ये आ गया कस्टम डोमेन यहाँ पे. I don't know, it's pretty slow for some reason. We'll see. So यहाँ पे what we start doing is we start. Now you can see the view of this thing. Sorry services you can see from over here on this storage, right? You can see containers. So containers are used for blob storage. So first you create a container. मैं कहता हूँ for example यहाँ पे storage account था, container is pictures. आप इसके अंदर ये भी बना सकते हो application name who is using that container. Okay, you can do that kind of thing as well. But let's say pictures. क्या था यहाँ पे? Pictures and movies, for example. We can, yeah, that's fine. Pictures. It should come up hopefully. ठीक है. The containers के अंदर once you go for the blob storage, you create containers और उसके बाद जाके आप वो करते हो उसको. Let me refresh. I don't know what happened. We'll see क्यों नहीं नजर आ रहा है इसको. Maybe it'll take a second or so. Usually it's right away you see. Let me see. Maybe its network is slow or something. ठीक है. Idea is you create the container and you add stuff to it, right? वो कह रहे हैं आपके पास बना हुआ already. Maybe आप आ जाओ यहाँ पे. So you are storing files over there. This is how you use container, right? So blob storage के लिए you need to go into the container. You create the containers over here, and then you start putting anything in there. You can upload very very big things and all that. I don't know. It's not. अब आ जाएगा मेरा ख्याल है थोड़ी देर में. तो यहाँ पे जो important चीज़ है, that is to understand what it is used for. ठीक है. Again, images. अगर आपने इमेज दिखाना है, डॉक्यूमेंट्स आपने डायरेक्टली उसको देने हैं, यू आर डीलिंग विद दैट फाइल डायरेक्टली, राइट, एज अ कंटेंट, एज अ समथिंग ब्लॉब स्टोरेज, राइट. आपने उसमें कुछ नहीं करना. दिस इज वेयर यू यूजिंग इट फॉर. उसके बाद आपने इसको फॉर एग्जांपल बैकअप करनी है, डेटा फाइल्स बैकअप करनी है, रिस्टोर करनी है, यू कैन यूज ब्लॉब स्टोरेज फॉर. You can use for example, streaming videos and audios. this is what is suited for, right? Because so this is the critical, main usages of blob storage. Let me check one more time, then we'll go. Okay, here they are. Not sure क्या मसला था, ठीक है? और इसमें जाके you can just upload. You can see upload, ठीक है? And then application get through. You can do many different things, right? You can read and write to all of these blobs and everything, and you can put terabytes of data in this one. Okay, terabytes of data in this one. So this is the beauty of cloud storage, right? There is no practically any end to this thing. Azure files, the difference and blob, right? This is over SMB protocol, right? And this is over REST interface basically, right? ये दोनों का REST interface है, यहाँ पे protocol SMB interface है, यहाँ पे SMB interface नहीं है. REST APIs तो सारों की हैं, right? So, but idea is यहाँ पे it implements SMB protocol. यहाँ पे there is no SMB protocol, right? Understand the difference. REST is all same, almost all same, right? But the thing is, SMB is there that allows you to do this thing what I just did over here, right? This thing. मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ इसका भी फिर से करके यहाँ पे फाइल शेयर्स के अंदर I can create a file share. I can say fs CS4037 fs01. Okay. You can see maximum can see 5 terabytes. Review and create. Look at a backup. I don't enable backup. देखो protocol कह रहे SMB. We didn't have this option. What SMB allows you to do is to connect to these drives. Right? If you have the right credentials, you can connect to these drives. This is the critical thing. Why deployment failed? Let's try one more time. Okay, कह रहा बना दिया मैंने फाइल शेयर. I don't know कुछ नेटवर्क का मसला हुआ it seems. We'll see. और इसके अंदर जो आपको ऑप्शन आएंगी वो आपको कंटेनर्स में नहीं आएंगी, right? Container is showing us upload and it's allowing us to create containers, kind of like folders, right? Yeah, some कुछ connectivity का मसला है. We'll see. ठीक है? This is the main thing. Up when to use. Lift and shift an application to the cloud. Why it's used for this? Because usually applications are storing files onto the disk. उसके लिए you need the Azure files. Storage है, लेकिन वो files read and write कर रहा है, और उसके अंदर is trying to share files also. Then to give it the same SMB interface that it can connect to, it's using the SMB interface to connect on premises. You must use Azure files. So it can connect to that storage as SMB and do whatever it needs to, right? That is the idea. Otherwise lift and shift has nothing to do with Azure files. But it's saying, अगर आप application लेके आ रहे हैं to the cloud, which has requirement for SMB based storage, then this is what you want to use. Okay? Also, since SMB allows sharing, then what you can do is, if you want the data to be accessible from multiple VMs, right? you must use Azure files. Also हम क्या करते हैं कभी कभार to put all the files अपनी tools एक disk के ऊपर, and we say everyone to share this and use it from over there instead of giving everyone a copy, right? Extended storage के ऊपर. So this is what it is essentially, right? These ones are straightforward for blobs. So anyway, I think I will stop over here. यहाँ से हम will continue this one. But this is a starting point. ये बड़ी अहम चीज़ें हैं where we'll use these ones. Or customers may have done a lot of destructive stuff when they pick, for example, LRS, GRS, ZRS, cost gets multiplied, and many, many other things, right? There are horror stories around these things. So be very clear and always ask which storage type you want to use, which क्या कहते हैं, redundancy option you want to pick, and so on and so forth, right? So anyway, so we'll continue from here inshallah on Monday. We'll not have quiz next week. मैं storage cover करूँगा, then we'll have quiz after that. Okay, inshallah. So good luck. I'll see you inshallah on Monday in the class.